Hello?
Hi, Rick. This is Zach. How you doing?
Hi, Zach. Good. How are you? You know what? Save it for the podcast. I'll be right out.
Okay, wait. Where are you? Are you?
60 seconds. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. I'll be right out. I'm sorry. Bye-bye. Wiggy! Hi, sweetheart. It's okay. Hold on. Come here. Wiggy! Okay. What a pleasure it is to have you in my home.
What a pleasure it is to be in your home. I've obviously seen your home.
I could see because you knew which was your chair.
Is this okay?
Yeah, that'll do just fine.
What is your,
This is for your drink.
thank you. Is it okay to put it on here?
That's the best place to put it.
Hi, Wiki. Oh, baby. What a beauty.
Can I get you water?
No, I'm good. I have this glass full of piss.
Come here, Wiggy.
Oh. I immediately threw it to an inaccessible
Yeah.
part of the... You're very handsome.
See?
It's true.
Told you, Wiggy. Thank you.
Not to immediately objectify you in your own home, but yeah. Hi, sweetie.
I got a new setup, a new camera setup.
How come? That's how you do it, like a Magritte painting? Like
No, but very smart.
Yeah, that's
throw up a
important.
reference because I get what he's saying.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that coming your way, so.
And I get it all, but if I don't comment on it, it's just because I just momentum. But like, we'll put up reference pictures. So
I
the
won't be,
audience gets it.
and I just want to make your viewers a promise, which is I won't be funny, but I will be pretentious, and that is a solemn promise to you.
Solemn?
Is solemn.
Is that like where witches were born? What does that even mean?
That's where the witches are from. But yeah, what this lacks in laughs, and it will lack in laughs, it will more than make up for in smarmy, performative pseudo-intellectualism.
Talking about the Sanderson sisters. Put up a picture. Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah, so I got this new equipment. I'm still learning how to use it.
Sure.
I think I'm doing a pretty good job. What do you guys think?
Ooh.
Yeah.
There's a lot of. It was mostly cheers, but I heard some slurs in there, in the crowd reaction when you asked that question. I heard some slurs that were pretty ugly.
I didn't hear play it back.
That-
JonMichael, on that playback, use the same moment that we used when the cheers were before. Use the same cheers, but we'll mix under it. Just say a couple things that you're comfortable with.
Oh yeah, I mean, just all your favorites. I don't want to.
Go ahead. The black stuff, gay stuff, whatever you want.
Listen,
We'll say it.
this
Look at
is
the camera,
your
go ahead.
house. Rick is gonna just do some ADR afterwards, and I think that will really set you up for everything you need in terms of hate speech.
You got it. Theme music.
Scoot doo, blabbity blue, scoop dee. Oh yeah!
Good to go, right?
I guess. What's he doing? He's vigilant, so we're vigilant. Yeah.
Oh, did I make scary faces?
He's so tuned into you.
So what?
He's so tuned into you. Like he's so attuned to your,
Yeah.
you like.
Each other's sentences. You're
Yeah.
gonna say, right?
That's right.
I know,
You finish
yeah.
Each other's sentences. That's what he was doing. Do you like this?
Let's see. Do you hear yourself?
Yes, unfortunately.
This episode is sponsored by electric e-bikes. Do you like riding your bike, Iris?
Yeah.
What do you think about riding a bike that helps you ride with electricity? Go full throttle into spring with electric e-bikes.
The number one.
Selling e-bikes in this entire nation.
You guys, you could get your adventure started at electricebikes.com.
And please mention that Take Your Shoes Off sent you in the post-checkout survey.
That's LECTRIC ebikes.com. Warmer, sunnier days are calling.
We better fuel up for them with Factor's no prep, no mess meals.
Yay, no man. So head to factormeals.com/TYSO50 and use code TYSO50 to get 50% off your first box and 20% off your next month.
Feed me.
So that's code TYSO50 at factormeals.com/TYSO50.
Yep, to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp.
Take a moment.
And visit betterhelp.com/TYSO and get 10% off your first month.
That's BetterHelp.
H-E-L-P.
That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/TYSO. Hello, do you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Who's your baby?
Do you turn off self view if you're on a Zoom?
No.
Because you want to see it.
Yeah.
You want to see the work.
I don't look at me. I do sometimes, but primarily I don't. And whenever I do look at me, I think that the person watching sees my eyeline change and thinks that I'm looking at me for vanity purposes. Sometimes.
Yeah.
But usually if I'm on a Zoom, it's because it's a meeting or a table read. And sorry, I thought I had to sneeze.
No, you just made like a little tongue out about the industry, I think.
Oh no, I just thought I had to sneeze.
Yeah. Oh.
But so when I do, sometimes I'm just looking to make sure that like if I'm doing some type of physicality, it's in frame.
It's just a tick of yours that you adjust your awards.
I didn't even notice I did that.
Oh yeah, you did it.
No, so I just want to make sure it's straight because it's new. It's a new setup.
It's a new setup in which awards are prominently.
Gulp, gulp, gulp.
You ahead. You thought I was going to finish your sentence again?
No, I just
because you said awards are prominently.
I felt like it was understood what I was gesturing at.
Come here.
Wiggy, you little slut. How could you betray me like this?
Who's your little baby? Yes. How much money do you have?
Skank. How much money?
Yeah.
It's an interesting question. Way less than if you Google my net worth, which
Sure.
I've done because I've been curious what the internet thinks, it says $5 million, which I so wish were the case.
Sure.
But
You probably made $5 million. You just don't have it. Maybe that's what it's saying. How much you've made.
it says your net worth.
Yeah, I feel like some people don't know the difference between net. You know what I think is really gross?
What?
That people don't know the difference between net and gross.
Who are you sexually harassing your own camera?
My camera guy.
But there's no man there.
Bill Lawrence. Look right behind the light.
Oh. Okay.
We could clip this out for Patreon footage for the behind the scenes.
Yeah, that people really, you mean what we're doing right now.
They love
This is
it.
the money stuff. The kind of banal logistical.
I know what it means, but put up banal.
Okay.
Put up a picture of the
Again,
definition of banal.
That in exchange for the laughs,
Banal.
I'm going to use words that are.
I think isn't that the brother of the guy from Under Siege?
Yeah.
Banal?
Yeah, banal. I've never seen Under Siege.
Oh, it's Steven Seagal's brother. I thought because it rhymed. That
Oh, I
joke was
have
like,
seen Under Siege. I have seen Under
She
Siege.
pops out of the cake.
Is he friends with Kim Jong-un?
I have to imagine he's friends with everybody he meets.
Gulp, gulp, gulp.
Steven Seagal and Dennis Rodman are both in a kind of collective with Kim Jong-un. Is that right?
Well, I remember that with Dennis Rodman, but to be frank,
Yeah.
ironically enough, I don't like talking about other people.
What do you mean? Ever?
I try not to. I think it's a good habit.
Even as a kind of way of exploring some aspect of yourself? Like you won't allow other proper nouns in your home that aren't Rick?
Proper nouns.
When you say proper, is the implication that that's improper of me to... Yeah, that's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
There's something very sinister about what you're saying, what your eyes are doing, and how you're stroking that dog.
I'm not sure I understand, but the question was, how much money do you make? And have?
Now less. I haven't, because I'm doing all of these things that I love that are not profitable. What are you looking at?
Go ahead.
What were you just doing to me?
I did a prank to you.
What was the prank?
I was initiating you into my home. Sometimes I have people look behind them. I'll show you. Cut to a clip of what I just did.
But I can't see it.
That I love that are not profitable. What are you looking at? Go ahead.
And we're back. So it was just a little face I made.
I didn't see any of it.
It's right there. You could see it right there.
How much money do you want?
You know, for the people at home and Bill, they might not know this, but we've never met.
We've never met. It's a great icebreaker.
So I would like to acknowledge just a feeling I'm having. Of course, I'm a fan of yours.
I'm a fan of yours.
But what I'm getting at is I'm feeling myself being in a very fun mood.
You're a saucy little snake.
It's a little disrespectful, but I'm here. At least you're not speaking about somebody like Rodman who's not. I'm just really, I'm really excited about talking to you, and I think by the end of this episode, we're going to find out how much you have.
Maybe we
Cash
will.
and liquidable assets.
Yeah, I don't know liquid assets.
You don't know them?
I know that they. I know.
Here's one. You have one.
Gulp, 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 gulp.
Hey, Rainn
gulp,
Wilson
gulp,
on
gulp,
recently.
gulp, gulp, gulp.
I know. I heard.
Somebody told you?
No, I listened.
Oh.
And your dad had a wet mouth, but he was actually a dry mouth because he was asleep. I haven't seen everything, but I've seen it.
So you know that we called you.
Yes, I got the voicemail.
So I feel like we should call Rainn at some point during
Oh,
this.
interesting. Okay,
And then maybe put a little montage together.
that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that.
Your clips, your bloopers from The Office are I watch a lot. I watch
Really?
them. I watch them a lot. Yeah.
I'm taking karate classes online. My sensei just... You're talking...
Silverback.
I'm the silverback. You're just a little chimp throwing feces at himself. Yeah, I remember when biceps were all the rage. Dukakis had just announced his candidacy for governor.
They come up a lot, but I also like look at them. Like sometimes when people talk about, because I love The Office bloopers.
Right.
So I'm surprised how many people don't know this. They're cut into seasons. Like you could look at the
Right.
seasonal. They're fantastic. You'd love them. So when I tell people to watch, or if I'm like people haven't seen them, I send them that first.
Oh, that's nice. Jeez, Louise. I'm distracted slightly because that's a Dumbo shirt, right? Do you know, presumably you do because you've been watching, because you're wearing the shirt. Do you know the song Baby Mine from Dumbo?
Baby mine, your manners for me. I'm an elephant, least we forget. For my family left me for the circus. Be of mine, eloquent. Yeah, I know the song.
Yeah.
What were you going to say about it?
No, I mean, what can I say that you didn't just communicate through song?
There's two versions of it, though, I know, and I only remember the original.
The
one I just sang.
original. The one I had was like, yeah, the kind of remix.
Yeah, how does that go?
I'm not willing or able to sing it, but it's this song about basically Dumbo's mother has been labeled a crazy elephant and put in a little train car with bars on the window. And Dumbo goes to visit his mother. She's going to be taken away to the circus.
This is, you understand, what did they call her again?
They call her Crazy Elephant.
Right. I don't know if you know that. You know, and I love Disneyland and I love Disney stuff.
Sure.
You know Walt Disney was an anti-Semite, right?
Yes.
So a crazy elephant woman or whatever they say is what they refer to as Jews.
They would call them crazy elephants?
What did they call Dumbo's mom? I don't remember.
Crazy elephant.
Crazy elephant. Yeah. Never forget. And the reason they do that is because elephants have these memories that like, it's like a steel trap door. And when they cart her away, it's reference to bringing her in the Holocaust.
It's not about the nose? It seems like that's the fastball down the middle. She has a big nose because she's an elephant. That's the anti-Semitic trope is she has a good memory. So in anticipation of the Holocaust, it's never forget.
No, she is a Jew. That's why they drew her that way and made her that way.
I mean, that is how all elephants look.
Earlier on when there's some cheers and he said he heard some, I believe you said anti-Semitic remarks.
I never said that. I said slurs.
We'll put in the elephant here.
What do you guys think?
She's a big nose because she's an elephant.
Jews.
Ooh.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, it was mostly cheers, but I heard some slurs. This is an act of terrorism against me.
So what made you think of that?
Well, what happens, I don't know if you remember, but Dumbo's mother reaches her long trunk, what you would describe as a long anti-Semitic trunk, through the bars and creates a little swing. And Dumbo crawls into the swing and is cradled by her through the bars. And then throughout the song, they visit with all the other animals all over with their parents who are together, being sweet to each other. But you know, this is it. This is their swan song for the elephants. And they're going to part ways.
So all the goyams are with their kids and everything's fine. You're saying?
Yeah, I mean, there's no like mezuzahs outside of their nests or anything.
But they're all non-Jews.
That's what I'm saying. I there's nothing else to suggest that they're.
What are their noses like? Are there any pelicans?
That's a good question. I don't think so. Are all pelicans Jewish? I'm very confused by the kind of ethnobiology that you're spewing.
I know what ethnobiology means, but
I don't know what it means.
Will you? It feels like you're actually pretending that you have a big Jew nose.
Do I?
Well, with a microphone. Why don't we bring it down a little bit?
Oh, you think it was
Yeah. Now I could see you. Now I could see those pearly whites.
But now maybe you feel like I'm trying to give myself like a diabolical kind of devil's beard.
You just be yes-anding my energy. I got Dr. Evil energy right here.
Yeah, you
remember
really
him?
do. Of course. Yeah. Behave.
Yes. Oh. Now, was it $1 million or $1 billion? Was the joke $1 million?
It's $1 million.
Right. That joke works even better now than it did then.
It's so funny. I think that joke is so funny.
Right, because he was, I'm not sure if I remember correctly, but I believe the math of that would be he was frozen or something and he was so out of touch that he thinks $1 million is what people would think $1 billion is.
Right. He's demanding a ransom for the whole world of $1 million.
Right. It's kind of like in The Social Network, how Justin Timberlake's character let us know that $1 million is not as cool as $1 billion.
And a lot of people don't notice he was playing himself in that movie.
Oh, real quick, swipe to it.
$1 million isn't cool. You know what's cool? You. $1 billion.
Yeah. So he played himself.
Yeah,
not the Napster guy.
No, he was playing Justin Timberlake, and apparently Justin Timberlake had that conversation with Mark Zuckerberg. I know you don't like to talk about other people, but it was like an important thing that happened in music and in tech.
Have you seen obviously you've seen the Italian Job. So in the Italian Job, Seth Green plays a guy who apparently created Napster.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, he's who really invented Napster. At least that's how Lyle tells it. He said Sean Fanning was his roommate in college and stole his idea.
Swipe to that. If we can't find it, I want to put it in both actual clips, but if we can't find it, we'll do what we're about to do. And if we do find it, what we're about to do maybe is the tag. You be Seth Green. Say I'm Seth Green from Italian Job.
I'm Seth Green from Italian Job.
Yeah, but do it like, and I'll be. Oh, could you do it better, Seth Green? Could you do a Jason Statham?
Jason Statham.
Okay, so you be Jason Statham, but you don't have to say
I'm Seth Green.
No, I'm gonna be Seth Green and say, aren't you the guy that created Napster?
Aren't you the guy who created Napster? I'm Seth Green. Oh, behave, baby.
So in these worlds, if the Italian Job and the Social Network existed in the same universe. You okay?
I don't know. I think, I feel.
Did that get really loud?
I was just being extremely hilarious.
So you're pretty
subdued.
You're subdued.
I am subdued. When you say it like that, it sounds like I'm a subdude. Like I'm into being like having wax poured on my penis and stuff. But I wouldn't rule it out, but I don't identify
submissive.
that.
I was picturing.
You separated the words, yeah.
But I was picturing, like if you were subdued and I wanted you to come over here, I'd be like, get over here. Because you'd be like if Sub-Zero took his mask off, he'd be subdued.
So because when you say get over there, I'd be like, yes, daddy.
Well, if he was submissive, yes.
What are we talking about then?
Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
Yeah, I know them.
They're childhood friends. They are. That's why they wear the same thing other than the colors.
They're twinning?
Yeah.
I don't know if they're friends. They get in a lot of fights.
Don't you get in fights with your childhood friends?
It's true.
Yeah, and if you were into Mortal Kombat, your fights would look a little bit different.
That's their love language.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Do you remember the secret to get Reptile?
No, I remember Backpack A was what deployed the harpoon.
Harpoon? No.
Yes,
but it sucks. It sticks in.
Yeah, that's a harpoon. That's how you get the whale back after you murder it. That's what a harpoon, right?
I don't.
I don't think he's a whaler. I don't think he's from like Nova Scotia or wherever
don't-
whalers are from. I don't know. Where are whalers? Reykjavik.
What weapon does Scorpion throw through his hand? Kunai. Can I say that?
Kunai?
Kunai. It's a harpoon-like weapon used most notably by Scorpion. Hanzo Hasashi.
What differentiates it from a harpoon?
Well, to me, and that is what my reality is, harpoon, it's like a long stick that has a start and an end, where this is like one of those things that the magicians have that keeps going.
Right.
Speaking of keeping on going, we will take this moment to cut to our sponsors, Duracell batteries. Are you in the mood? You know what?
Hey, the future. What's her problem?
Apparently I kept her up all night.
Because we're building it.
Hey, thanks for your patience, man. Are you having a good time?
Yeah, during the break, you were telling me about how Duracell causes ADHD in kids and old people, you said.
Older. It's not even old people. It's like anybody that's older. And to me, older always just means older than me.
Oh, yeah. You were saying it's a really dangerous. You said you're really conflicted about promoting them because on the one hand, they're bankrolling your whole lifestyle. On the other hand,
Causes ADHD.
and a lot of people can't focus. And you were saying specifically it's because of Duracell. I said, you mean batteries are causing it? You said, no, not Energizer, which I strongly prefer, which was weird. And then I said, well, Duracell specifically, you went, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I remember. What's your point?
I just felt like I wanted people to know that you have complicated feelings about it, that you're not just shilling for big, for the...
I also have complicated feelings about something as simple as salt and what type of minerals I'm getting and what type of electrolytes. And especially if you put the two together, you could get in a lot of trouble with a salt and battery. We'll be right back. Citrus mango? Mm-hmm. Fire grilled chicken with fresh mango salsa.
El pollo loco.
What is your relationship to Bill Lawrence? Because the energy, when you give a little energy over there, it's like, it's so saucy.
It's funny that you say that because, I happen to have gotten sauced.
Look at that. At, what is it?
Flo and Eddie's. It was my dad's old restaurant. So just now I wasn't looking to Bill. I was looking to my goblins. That's what we call the...
You're calling Bill Lawrence a goblin because...
goblins are the people that are huge fans of my podcast.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question? What for
Yes.
you? So Dumbo's mom is cradling her and she's asleep. What makes you feel that way? When do you feel most snug as a bug? When do you feel most safe and calm?
I struggle to answer hyperbole literally. I could tell you a place where I feel very calm.
Yes, fine. It doesn't have to be the most.
So you're sitting on a blanket. And that is because you're wearing outdoor clothes. When I shower and I put on my indoor clothes, the feeling of being clean and I'm in for the night. Okay. Door's locked. Alarm is on. Food has been not only ordered, but delivered. I have 2 entrees. One I'm eating now, and in case I want a little bit of food later, I will. I'm sitting down. I'm putting on something that I've been watching. I don't know, a Sopranos again, some Shark Tank, something where I'm like, I could literally eat and watch and be clean and comfortable until I fall asleep. And when I fall asleep, I'll go upstairs. I'll take off my indoor clothes and put in my bed clothes. Now, I don't always do that. If I know I'm going to wash my sheets in the next day or two, I'll splurge and I'll wear my couch clothes in the bed. But typically you have your bed clothes, which are just like, holy shit, look at these things. These are clean. Then you have your indoor clothes, which is I'll sit anywhere that has indoor only stuff. And then I have my outdoor clothes, or as I like to call it, poor people clothes, where you go outside and you just bump into people on the street and fall on the grass. Now, that moment before I go to bed and I have my sleepover, not with a friend, because who has friends, but with your food and your television, that's where I'm
cradled. A sleepover? Those are your friends who are spending the night with you? Is your television and the 2 entrees you ordered?
And my awards?
Yeah. So wait a second. I'm so interested in so many of the things you just said. So, okay. And if anything gets too personal, you can cut it out. But I would prefer you leave it in, and we can just throw to it. We can throw to him saying cut it out, and then you throw to me saying let's keep it in. So what I was going to say is, okay, you are able to
take your time.
I just want to really get in there because it's very interesting. People who are addicts talk about chasing the perfect high, where it's like, oh, it was just a little too much this way. It was a little too much that way. I'm just trying to dial it in just right. But for you with cleanliness, it exists and you've realized it multiple times, it sounds like, where it's not an imperfect clean. You're like, I fucking nailed it. I was clean here. And then sure enough, I got even cleaner up there. Where you've like landed on the aircraft carrier. You've perfected and you're like, and there must be a dual or I don't know, is there a dual satisfaction of both A, I'm so clean, and B, like, look at me. Like I
nailed it.
Yes, exactly. It's just the clean pleasure.
Do you hear that frequency?
Yeah, I do.
What is it?
Well, there's outdoor traffic.
It's not that.
And it's not just the vibe, right? It's not like
maybe it was that. Maybe.
I don't think it's the
like.
vibe.
Are you feeling this?
Yeah, but if the vibe between us sounds like that, like just kind of a low, like
it could be like an attraction.
Yeah, that could be nice.
So it's not a dual. I don't remember what you used to call it. A dual like appreciation.
It's just the clean.
It's just the clean because it's not a look at this, look how good you did, because the antithesis is just complete anxiety.
Right.
So like it's not like, oh, this is great. It's good for me. What a little treat. Maybe I'll do it again. It's a survival thing in a way. I'm being a little dramatic, but like without that, I don't feel nice. So it's basically an analogy would maybe for people that could understand. Now, not everybody does this, but that feeling of like, do you brush your teeth every night before bed? You ever get in bed and you didn't brush your teeth and you're so tired, you're like, fuck, I got to go brush my teeth. Yeah. Or even maybe you don't even get in bed yet because you don't want to brush your teeth and wash your face yet or something like that.
Yes.
So that feeling of like, if you don't brush your teeth and wash but there's not just brushing your teeth and washing your face. There's also touching things a certain amount of times and putting on a certain pair of shorts.
Now, I don't know if you know this. I have obsessive compulsive disorder, like with diagnosis again and Tourette's, but it's fairly symptomless now, but so I know something. My stuff was less about cleanliness and it was more sort of rituals and intrusive looping thoughts and things and sort of say it again.
ILTs.
Yeah. I guess so. Is that you just made up the acronym?
I mean, I didn't make it up. I just saw it.
Right.
But yeah,
you named it like Adam and Eve in the garden, naming the animals.
ITG. NTA.
Jesus.
J.
My God.
MG.
Those Duracells really did something to you.
Maybe. This episode is sponsored by Factor Meals. Now, Factor Meals is something that I have been using, and I actually turned my mom onto it, and I have her on a subscription plan, and she uses it every week. Iris, when you're making dinner with your mommy, sometimes you go, ugh, I hate having to clean up this mess.
Yes, I hate cleaning up the mess.
The food is already cooked, and the food is already delicious.
Yummy in my tummy.
Yummy in my tummy.
Dad, while we're in the pocket, I want to talk to Mom about Factor Meals, and I don't have service, so I'm calling your phone.
Okay, so listen. Mom just sat down. She's halfway through her Factor meal, and she's going, this is the best. I have to call Ricky and see if I can get more and more. I'm just going to do all my meals.
Ma?
Hi, honey.
So,
It's so weird. Ricky, I'm not kidding you. Their food, I've said it to you a million times, their food is something I would order in a restaurant.
Well, I got good news for you. If you want to order this food like you're in a restaurant, you could head to factormeals.com/TYSO50 and use code TYSO50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month.
That's code TYSO50 at factormeals.com/TYSO50?
That's right. To get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active.
Yummy in my tummy.
Okay, perfect. This episode is sponsored by Electric E-Bikes. That's right. It looks like you're pedaling, but it doesn't look like you have to pedal exactly as hard as you would with a standard bike. Is that correct, John?
Well, not if you use electricity, right, Iris?
Yeah, Daddy.
So here's the thing. It has an amazing variety of models for riders of all abilities. It's never been easier to fall in love with riding again. Plus, every electric e-bike ships free. How could it ship free? They're losing money.
Well, they better act fast if this company's losing money from all this free shipping. People have to go now.
Go to electricebikes.com to discover e-bikes that start as low as $7,999.
That's a deal. That's cheap.
Wait, this must be a typo. It says just $799 with the XP Lite. It's literally under $800.
Iris, give me my credit card back, sweetie.
How many miles for one charge?
150.
How low is the financing?
The financing is as low as $49 a month.
Go full throttle into spring with electric e-bikes.
The #1 selling e-bikes in the nation.
Get your adventure started at electricebikes.com.
And please mention that Take Your Shoes Off sent you in the post-checkout survey.
Please.
That's LECTRIC ebikes.com. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Iris, you seem tired, huh?
Yeah.
Is that because you're always traveling around and you have to go into people's offices and you have to wait around while mommy and daddy do their errands?
Yeah.
Not with BetterHelp, Iris. You see, with BetterHelp, it's entirely online. You could be matched with a clinical licensed therapist in under 48 hours. And if you don't like the therapist you're matched with, you could switch therapists at any time for free until you find the person that you like.
Now that's waking me up.
That is waking you up. And you know what's waking me up? The idea that if I need somebody to talk to and maybe your dad's busy or my dad's taking a big old dump and I don't have somebody to talk to, or maybe even I'm talking to people and they're giving me their biased opinions or they don't quite understand all the obstacles and they don't know how to advise me. I want to be able to speak to a therapist.
Let's get a therapist already there.
I've been trying to get your daddy into therapy for
Yeah,
years.
so is your mom. I guess I need one.
You visit betterhelp.com/TYSO to get how much?
1% off, right?
Nope. 10% off your
Oh
first
my
month. That's BetterHelp.
H-G-L-P.
That's right.
Bullseye.
HELP.com/TYSO. You said that you're fairly symptomless now. When it becomes fairly doesn't mean none, just as Dumb and Dumber. But you get it symptoms like you have little symptoms here and there, or sometimes they reveal themselves.
I think my personality was probably forged in the fires of Tourette's and obsessive compulsive disorder. So there are patterns of thinking and ways of experiencing the world that I think have the residue of that on them. And
Could you give a direct example?
Yeah. I mean, I've talked about this before on like talk shows as a kind of a silly story, but it's actually fairly emblematic of a whole way of relating to the world, which is that when I was a kid, there was a
I read this book by Roald Dahl called The Witches.
Did you ever read that?
Is that, did they make a movie on it?
Yeah, they made a couple. One with Anne Hathaway, one with Angelica
I've seen
Houston.
both.
Yeah, they're good. I didn't see the Anne Hathaway one, but I love her. But Angelica Houston is like, come on.
Scary as a kid.
Oh, she's the best.
It was probably the scariest movie that I was able to watch where I didn't, and I might be wrong, and maybe it gave me nightmares and stuff, but it didn't do like what Pet Sematary or Arachnophobia did.
Which is, what did those do to you?
I still check the toilets. Arachnophobia, they sat on the toilet and there was a spider under there, and I still look.
No shit.
Well, not unless you check first.
Can I flirt with Bill too?
Yeah, he's behind here too.
So wait a second. Where were we? What were
So
you
you
talking about?
which is Roald Dahl, the
my
book.
ex, her. Now this is not going to help you, but my ex, her mother sat on a toilet where there was a brown recluse spider. It bit her ass and formed a necrotizing pocket, which is a pocket of dead flesh that.
I know what a necromancer is, so I was able to deduce.
A necrotizing pocket formed, and there's a hole. There's a moonscape on that part of her tush. And that can happen. And brown recluse exist in Los Angeles. So this is not the stuff of fiction. You could be turned into I never thought about it, but mooning someone is to show them your ass. In that case, it has
double moon.
Double moon.
Is that why you broke up with her daughter?
Yeah. I was like, I can't. I was like, what if our kids look like that? Your mom has this hole in her ass. What
It's
if
not genetic?
I was like, I don't want to get mired in the specifics. I cannot have a kid with a moonscape.
You know,
ass.
it's interesting that also, if she turns into her mother, she's not just one asshole, but she's a double asshole. Two holes in her butt.
There you go. So you understand why we broke up.
Would you call what I just made a pun or a bum? I'm sorry.
That time you kind of looked down at him. You kind of gave him a once over.
I was checking Wiggy first.
Oh, okay.
Should I look at him?
So wait a second. So yes. So in
please,
The Witches.
Thank you.
It begins.
Diddle-doo, 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 diddle-doo. If I had the budget, I want to write a little thing with you and we act it out, you know?
They say anyone could be a witch.
They don't wear
They
tall
don't
pointy
ride on
hats. They don't ride on
broomsticks. They don't have big warty noses, unlike the anti-Semitic elephants and Dumbo. That's not in it, but it's heavily implied.
They also, because a lot of people would say, oh, the Jews, all these negative things, but they're so smart because of blah, blah, blah. That's why they made a stupid, well, I mean, literally the name is Dumbo.
Right.
Jews.
Right. And everyone knows that Jewish people hate the circus. So that's another stereotype.
I didn't know that.
No, I don't think it's.
I know. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I'm stepping
to a circus show. It's like a damn bar mitzvah. We're everywhere.
We can't get enough.
We're obsessed, but don't let the people know how much we like the circus.
I don't think they could hear unless they put the volume up really loud.
Which if they do it, then we got them like that, and your eardrums are wrecked. You deaf bigot.
So you were telling me about Roald Dahl and anybody could be a witch,
yes,
even
okay,
if they don't have a big nose.
Yes, that's right. I think he might have been I don't know if he was anti-Semitic.
If it was the 40s or before,
come on. So
So
anyone could be a witch. They don't ride a broomstick. There's no tells. They don't have a black hat. Nothing. She says, the narrator says, the old lady down the street could be a witch. The postwoman who gave you candy today could be a witch. They say even your teacher who is reading this to you right now could be a witch. Look how she smiles at the idea of it.
She could be a witch.
That could be a cover. She could be a witch. And so I got in my head, well, what if my mom is a witch?
Right.
I love my mom. I rely on my mom. I need my mom.
How old are you when you read this Roald Dahl book?
Young. Probably, I don't know, 5, 6, something.
You were reading books if I was 6
they were
because of
reading them to
Tourette's?
me. They were reading them to me.
Who's they?
My parents.
What'd you say? I thought I had to sneeze again.
I said my parents.
Your parents were reading them to you. So your parents are reading you this Roald Dahl book, and as your mom is reading it, you're now thinking,
oh, fuck.
Did you look to her to see if she responded to that part of the book?
I don't. I wish it would be a better story if I remembered the particulars of hearing it for the first time. I just remember knowing it and thinking, oh,
Right.
God. So I would ask her, I'd say, are you a witch? She'd say, no. I'd say, good.
And you believed her? Like
For
if
a
you ask
second.
a cop.
For a second. And then I would say, but that's what a witch would say. And she'd be like, okay, well.
But you said that out loud. So you quite. She was aware of your curiosity.
She knows, but probably from an outside perspective, it's like kids say the darndest things shit. But the reality is, if you think about what it's like to be a kid and to think that your mother in some way, as loving and nurturing as she is, might actually be a malevolent force.
But why is a witch necessarily bad?
Like you said, from Solemn, they
not
nearly,
all.
if they hadn't done those trials in Solemn, Massachusetts would have been in flames, right? They got rid of them, thank God.
But looking back, a lot of people think that was just an excuse to put down smart, thoughtful, different women.
That's insane.
Do you think that
they
all
were
women,
overrun with witches? What were they supposed to do?
But how do you know they were really witches? And if so, how do you know they were bad?
You're victim blaming the people of Salem.
I'm offering a curiosity.
This is really ugly. Those people had to deal with witches, and now they have to deal with your skepticism. They were almost bewitched and put into bad.
Well, now I'm bewildered because I'm a science
man.
man.
Bothered, babe. Ditched again, bewitched again, and something bum 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 bum. Bewitched, bothered, and bewildered am I by the. What is that? You just did.
Ooh,
that's nice. That's it for any of your podcast viewers, listeners who are 80 years old. They will appreciate that old torch song, and no one else will know what the fuck that was.
I think everybody remembers that show.
She was treated like a child by her husband.
Darren?
And Jeannie even more. And Lucy even more. Those are the smart women, who were being infantilized and diminished and those portraits, even though, Lucille Ball ran the show, but of course she has to play this kind of.
Does she have to? And I'm
No,
just again
she probably
offering some
doesn't have to.
I
She's
think
just
she
being
wanted to play
funny.
into
Yeah,
that. I
fair
get
enough.
what you're saying, and I do still think the public did see her as the dominant force of that show.
I hope that's true. But we're getting off topic, which is about how
because of Lucille Ball, Star Trek exists.
No, I don't know anything about that. And
I can tell you about that if you're interested later.
Yeah,
It's very true.
You can tell me. You can tell me.
I'll remember.
What I was going to say is
never forget.
Never forget how close
Star Trek almost didn't go.
Is that what that phrase means? I think that's a much more consequential phrase when people say never forget.
I was talking about the Holocaust and never forgetting that, but I was tying that into the theme of never forget, which is what this episode is going to be called.
Oh boy, I hope not.
Well, let's see if I remember when I
Hey,
I fill out all
David,
this
can
stuff.
we make sure it's not that?
Hey, is that a joke because you already forgot his name?
Dave, I really need you to not make it never forget.
I got to know, is that what that joke was? Yeah?
Yeah.
Tourette's taught you that.
Tourette's taught me to forget.
No, Tourette's taught you the math of that comedy.
Here's what I'm trying to tell you.
Sorry.
I feel that I was scared that my mom, my most relied upon person, was in some way malevolent. I'm not saying all witches are malevolent, although I do believe that. No,
So
I
you
don't.
are saying-
I love witches. I love witches.
Yeah.
But I don't actually believe that. But I've always had some version of that again and again and again. So it changed as I grew up. That core anxiety of are you a witch or am I a witch? That matured with
The way
me.
you said or implied they're mutually exclusive.
Yeah, it was usually one or the other, actually.
So either she is or I am?
Meaning like either she's essentially bad news in some like unconfirmable way, or I'm essentially bad news in
Which
some
means
unconfirmable
no
way.
matter what, somebody's bad.
Right.
What was your preference? Cut to the Michael Jackson eating the popcorn meme.
I think my preference would be that the other person. Right. It's that thing of like, would you rather be in jail for killing somebody when you didn't do it, or would you rather be free having killed somebody and never been caught? Would you rather be wrongfully convicted and locked up, or would you rather be free knowing you've killed someone?
I've never heard that question, but I think there are. I'd have some follow-up questions. For example, is this person still exactly who they are, or are they the type of sociopath that would have done that to where that doesn't really affect them? And was the killing in self-defense and or necessary?
No, it wasn't in self-defense. They still are the same person. We contain multitudes. They're not a psychopath. You're you, but you had a bad 2.5 minutes.
Then that's not me.
I don't know. I think we contain all kinds of...
And I'm not defending myself. I just, out of
You don't
anger...
think-
What's that?
Go ahead.
Just out of anger, like, oh, fuck, the camera was out of focus for the first 15 minutes. And then the person next to me, I just punch too hard and they fall over and that's it?
Right. I go up to your bed because I think it's hilarious. And, you know, I taint swab your pillow or something.
I know what taint swab means, but for people that don't, we'll put up a picture of him doing a taint swab.
That and it's not because you believe in homicide as a life philosophy, but in that moment you're like, this fucking guy, this isn't funny. I can't use it. He's taint swabbing my pillow.
I can't use it, meaning like it's not like it was for a sketch.
Yeah, it's not gonna our cameras aren't up there. Right.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I think you would take my life.
There's no way.
But anyway, that core anxiety of like, is there something fundamentally untrustworthy in the room at any moment? I think it has been a kind of core.
And this is 6 years old.
Yeah.
Now this is part of your obsessive thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Did it relate to outside of witches? Was it always? But
no.
It was always a binary negativity, though.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's a pretty common thing. Once I started reading about OCD, it's like people who are really religious, for example, will have these hyper blasphemous thoughts. Like they'll be like, "Oh my God, what if I want to have sex with Jesus or something?" And then they'll be like, "Oh God, I'm going to go to hell." And for me, that's not a compelling one because I'm not religious in that way.
Because I'm not gay.
That's why. That's why.
Right. Which is fine. I mean, everyone's gay. We're all gay.
You don't know. Gay. Yeah.
Well, I have.
Did you just say we're all gay?
Well, everyone technically.
What do you mean technically?
Technically, we're all gay.
You just repeated it, but can you clarify?
Yeah, if you break it down, I'm saying like on a macro level, I'm saying we're all gay. You know?
Is this how you come out? Like, because I'm honored if this is how you're coming out. You're doing it in a weird way that has a kind of sociological valence or whatever.
No,
but,
I'm just saying, like, I'm no more gay than anybody else.
Well, let's pick some specific people.
Name anybody. I'm no more gay than them, but name somebody else.
I will name somebody. Greg Louganis, the Olympic diver.
Well, he has it in his name, man.
Okay, I didn't know that was disqualifying, but fine.
It's just a little...
Nathan Lane, the beloved actor.
I'm just as gay as Nathan Lane, who's not gay, but technically...
He is gay.
No, he's not. Have you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm?
I've seen it. Not his episodes.
Do you watch Sex and the City? Not Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I've seen Sex and the City, believe me.
Swipe to it.
So, Samantha, how are you? Fabulous. How are you? Delirious. I'm madly in love and getting married. Oh, congratulations. Who's the lucky star?
Me. Well, Mr. Broadway has to go tinkle before he can tinkle.
Nice meeting you all.
Bye. I thought he was gay.
Yeah. Mr. Broadway has to go tinkle. That has to be the gayest sentence ever uttered.
That's not a documentary, of course.
But that's what I'm talking about. You're talking about documentary.
You're confused. I understand why you're
technicalities.
confused. You saw a Social Network. You saw Justin Timberlake play himself. So you think all actors are always playing themselves, but it's not true. That's not true.
No, not all of them are, but when they do, it's themselves. Larry David plays the guy that created Seinfeld. Nathan Lane plays the guy that plays the pig in the movie
Mustafa, but
you're the anti-Semitic founder.
You're understandably bewitched, bothered, and bewildered right now because I think you think that you don't understand when to suspend disbelief. But I think what matters is that you're saying you're gay, and I think that's great.
I'm not. I'm a little distracted. I'm just thinking about guys and their penises
doing what,
just sucking and fucking each other.
There you go.
But also girls,
doing what,
watching that and thinking it's hot too. So I'm no more gay than I am a girl.
That I can stand by. That I co-sign on. You're no more gay than you are.
That's what I'm saying. And that's not a blanketed statement. What I'm trying to get at is technically we all want the same thing.
Right.
We want to feel seen.
Yes.
We want to feel safe.
Yes.
We want to feel valued.
Right.
We want to feel loved.
That's
right. We
right.
also want to offer those things to other people.
That's right.
People,
Yes.
not just girls, not just guys.
That's right.
So yeah. I'm gay.
You were also really sexually specific because you said you just were picturing a lot of penises sucking.
Now I am again that you said it. And then, but during, like when you were talking about witches, I was picturing women and how ugly and just, they're fucking just.
You're a gay misogynist.
Technically, aren't we all?
Definitely not. Definitely
Name
not.
3 things that you like about women.
3 things that I like about women?
Yeah. Other than their tits, their pussy, and their hair. No, but all jokes aside, I'm straight. I would never fuck Jesus. I love girls and only girls. But yes, technically I'm,
Did you ever have these thoughts that were not about cleanliness, but that were about a kind of internal cleanliness where it's like, oh, I am essentially corrupt or defiled, or this person is, bewildered. Or that person bewildered, corrupt, defiled, and bewildered.
Much like you felt the need to preface that you spoke about this on a talk show, I also would like to say I've talked about this on a podcast before.
On this one?
On mine, not with you, but this antidote.
Antidote.
What is the one that I give you so you feel better?
Antidote.
This antidote that I want to tell you. I used to have thoughts all the time. Sometimes I still do. But as a kid, I would have thoughts and I would have to tell my mom. I'd have to confess them to my mom because I wasn't sure if this was okay or not.
Right.
And the time that I realized that was something I didn't have to do, coincidentally, was at Disneyland. My mom and I and a childhood friend and his mother, we were at Disney, and the friend, his mom and I went to the bathroom. She's a woman. She went to the woman's side. I'm a guy. I went to the guy's side.
Great.
And while I went in there and I pulled my pants down to pee, I thought about,
You pulled your pants down to pee?
Uh-huh.
All the way down?
I don't remember if I pulled them all the way down or not. I just mean I pulled my penis out.
Great.
Now I'm thinking about those again.
But you didn't pull your pants down all the way to
I don't
the
remember.
ground.
Sometimes I used to do that as a joke when I would be next to, like if I would go in a public urinal and there's people, I would pull my pants down next to them.
That's really intense, but it's very funny. Okay, yeah. Sorry,
But looking back on that now too, it's like it's one of those jokes that like even as a kid before doing comedy, I would do it because it's funny to me and not to them. The joke's just for me. But at the same time, I do remember doing stuff like even when I started stand up. I know I'm digressing. I'm just like realizing something.
Fine.
People are like, oh, like I would do stuff that's like, oh, it's just for him or for the other comics. Like he's trying to be weird and make people uncomfortable. But like, I wanted that. I have to imagine. I wanted that person next to me to think that was funny. It's just the risk is they probably won't understand that I'm doing it as a joke. Why would they? I'm just a 14-year-old boy pulling my pants down.
Well, this makes me think of two things. One is Alec Berg, the writer, told me this thing. I can't remember who told him, but when you go out to urinal, if you're next to a stranger, they have these dividers, these privacy dividers. And a good joke is to just knock on one of them and go, don't you hate these things?
Yeah.
I think that was funny. The other thing is once I was on like doing this touring comedy show, you'll get there. I was doing this touring comedy show and we were in we stopped to pee and get snacks someplace. And I went into the bathroom. My friend Eric was peeing in the urinal. There was only one urinal, so there was a stall. I had to pee. So I was in a chipper mood, and we've been listening to Hall & Oates, Man Eater. And there's a section where they go, mind over matter in that song. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, that was in my head.
You had just been listening to it.
That's why. So that's good. And so what I did was I went into the bathroom. Oh, Eric's at the urinal. I have to pee in the stall. I kicked the door of the stall and went, mind over matter, because I was just feeling
there.
Yeah. He just heard mind over matter. Boom.
And it opened. Was it locked?
I mean, I don't know. If it was, it couldn't resist the force of my delicate legs.
How did you feel?
I felt so embarrassed that I then stood right next to Eric at the urinal, like right up against his shoulder while he was peeing, which was also weird because I just needed to be like near someone who knew that I wasn't like a predator.
Right. But by doing that, you're making it seem like you're even more
it's
of one.
Worse. It's like I've harassed everyone.
Did you say, I'm sorry, I thought this was empty and I was in a silly mood? Or did you just retreat?
No.
What did he say?
Eric was just...
No, the man inside.
I don't know that there was any verbal communication. I think there might have been a kind of like, oh, like, oh, it's horrible. But anyway, you're at Disney World. You pull your pants down to pee, and then what happened?
I pictured the mom must be doing that too, which means now I pictured her naked. I shouldn't have done that. And I went and I talked to my mom and I told her what I would do stuff like this. Like I would just say things. I thought about this. Is this okay? And I told her, I actually don't remember if I asked if this is okay as much as I just needed to like cleanse or admit. I don't know. I don't remember what the intention was entirely, but that's the first time that I could remember at least my mom saying to me, first she satisfied that my thoughts were okay. And then she let me know that these thoughts are okay. You're allowed to have these thoughts and you don't have to tell me. If you want to, you could tell me. It was she gave me a very safe space. If you want to tell me, you could tell me anything always. But I want you to know that if you don't tell me, that's okay too. And people have thoughts and it's totally, and I just remember that. I remember thinking like, oh, I could have these things and I don't have to. I would have thoughts about things and like question if they were okay and things would pop in. But I don't know if it was a shame that was removed or at least the burden of now needing to. An analogy would be when somebody says, tell Zach I say hello. I will respond with maybe. Like to say yes, now I'm a liar if I don't. So I might. And if I remember, I'll tell you. That burden of like, not only did I have this thing, now I have to like carry it somewhere. I have to remember it. I have to then have the conversation. So
now,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. But I was just going to say, now the irony is, to me, that moms are witches because she broke the spell that your brain had over you. I mean,
but
moms are witches. Good witches. Mine too. She was like that too. It's like they're magic. And parents generally.
All
it's
women
like,
are bitches.
Did you say all women are bitches?
No, run it back. All women are witches.
It was like there was a silent B, which I didn't even know could happen, but there was a silent B before the W. But anyway, it's amazing. It's amazing. Like, God bless your mom. Like that's such good parenting.
You close with your mom?
Yeah. Yeah.
You close with your dad?
Yeah. I'm close with my dad.
Are they together?
Yeah. Yeah, they're together. Are you close with your parents?
Very.
And they're separated?
No, they're together. I mean, my dad
I'm
goes to
not
work.
sure. We're not. I don't know. I don't know how they're doing.
Oh, you haven't met them.
I know, but I just, yeah.
They've been on the pod a lot, though.
I wouldn't assume that because they've told you they're together, they're, that their marriage is.
I don't know if they've ever told me that they're together. And that's the thing. Like, that song that says real gangsters don't need to grab their balls and say they're a gangster?
Is that from Les Mis?
When you laugh in a situation like this, are there times where you're upset that you laughed?
No, this is fun.
Yeah.
It's weird, but it's fun.
This.
Yeah, it's so, I have so many thoughts about you. Like, now.
Will you remember them if I still continue on with this question?
Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's just, it's strike 2. Oh, you know what? I think it's actually strike 1. I have a strike.
Oh, I'm so embarrassed. I'll be right out. I'm sorry. Bye-bye.
Don't lose your thought. You're talking about being mad about laughing.
I guess it makes more sense like if you're doing a scene and you want to keep in the scene and you don't want to break character. Of course, it feels good. It's literally dopamine going through your body. But are there times where like you laugh and it's almost like saying, all right, well, that game's over. Does that connect to you at all? Do you need something to drink?
I'm going to have some of this. Here's what I'll say.
Gulp, 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 gulp.
When you ruin somebody else's take, that feels really shitty. And I will say this. TJ Miller, who I was on Silicon Valley with, who had a lot of problems and was difficult to work with in many ways.
I don't like talking about other people.
I insist on it.
Okay.
No.
Let me throw up some pictures of some troubled times.
No. But I'm saying I want to hold, these are two things together. TJ had his demons, but he would do this thing that was so incredible, which is that if you were improvising in a scene with TJ Miller and you said something funny and they're shooting your side of the scene, then you go to lunch. It's hours later. You go with touch-ups, whatever. You come back.
He remembers to...
And you don't remember. Now they're shooting his side of the scene. And I forgot the thing I said before that was funny. If I don't say it, he would react as though I had said it on his reaction shot to make sure that in the edit, they could use the joke I'd made hours ago.
You recognize that? Or he told you that?
I watched him do it and was like, what is he doing? And then I was like, that's that joke I made hours ago. And he remembered, and he was so generous from a comedic perspective in those instances that he wanted to make sure that everything was usable because he just loved it when it was funny.
Uh-huh.
And I sometimes think laughing when it's somebody else is being marvelous is the opposite of that.
What if the coverage isn't on them still because it takes them out of it?
Yes and no. I mean, I used to get really, like when I was a kid watching SNL, I would get mad at Jimmy Fallon when he would laugh at Will Ferrell's stuff.
Did you believe he was laughing for real?
I wasn't sure.
If you knew, hypothetically, he's laughing for real, he can't control it. Does that make you feel better?
Well, this is what I learned. I was on, Will Ferrell I've done different things with Will Ferrell now. It's not Jimmy Fallon's fault.
So cool.
It's not his fault. Will Ferrell, it's like a shark with blood. He starts being so fucking funny, and then if he sees you starting to like fight with yourself not to laugh, it's like in the horror movie when like the beast is like, finds you and then starts lurching towards you and you're fucked.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad for judging Jimmy Fallon because it's like I would laugh and ruin takes. I'd just be like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I can't do anything about this.
What an interesting perspective of you thought them doing it was an intentional disrespect.
I didn't think it was a disrespect, but I was like, no, don't ruin it. Don't ruin it. It's going so well. And then it's like, what are you supposed to do? It's impossible.
That's the impetus to the question I was asking. If you are ever that person that laughs, the way that you would get mad at somebody for ruining something, I'm saying, do you ever laugh and you're just like, fuck?
Yes, if it ruins it for someone else,
But
Or,
that's
yeah, if we're
subjective because like even in this,
no, I don't laugh. I don't regret laughing here because it's fun and it's I don't know.
But I don't want to.
You don't want to laugh.
I always want to laugh. Laughing is
Then laugh.
and I do. I'm not going to stop a laugh. What I'm getting at is if we're doing a game though, and I do laugh when which like involuntarily. Wait, what's going on right now?
No, I'm just listening. I think
like involuntarily, and the game. Now I'll get upset. Like, well, okay, that was fun, but now the game is over before I wanted it to be. Like we could have. I feel that way sometimes.
Well, I don't know. Everything is its like little life cycle, but also you can keep joking after somebody laughs. I mean, and it's also really telling, like what the thing that breaks you, like when you just said, name 3 things about women you like, and it can't be their tits, pussy, and their hair. And that was the thing that really made you go. It's like that's information of
I subscribe to that entirely. There's pros. I think there's more benefit to it.
Yeah.
I was just talking about that very niche thing, especially like. There's a few, but the one that circulates all the time is you talking about Dukakis and Rainn Wilson and Jason Linklater, and I'm forgetting his name. How am I forgetting his name?
John Krasinski.
Thank you. I knew it had 2 words, and they couldn't stop. And in bloopers, that's great, but that's not usable now in the show. Now, of course, you could have done another take.
Oh, in that. No, but no. When I was on The Office, I had felt so inadequate and terrified all the time. If those guys were laughing, it was music to my fucking ears. I was delighted if they were laughing. Usable or not.
Yeah, but I'm saying their feeling. Like now they know you can't use it. I feel myself getting into the weeds now, and I think I must be projecting some, and I'm realizing that a little late. So I don't want to harp onto that. But I will say though that making other people laugh break is a different thing.
It's a good feeling.
What did you feel inadequate there? Just because the show had been going and you were new?
I never acted before. I did one movie and then I was on that show and it was a beloved show and I'm playing this kind of weird character and it was, and I wasn't sure how much I could play. And I just had incredible imposter syndrome. I used to ride to work. I used to drive to work and I would put in a Frank Sinatra CD and sing along because if I didn't, my jaw would be so tense from the terror of driving, which I also wasn't used to, and the terror of going to that job that I couldn't speak. I had a hard time forming words. And something that I sense when you talk about the OCD stuff or it seems to me I've had the experience of feeling like my body is a very inhospitable place. It's a haunted house. It's noisy and there's chains and ghouls and it's like it's or maybe that's not even exactly right. That might make it more dramatic than it actually is. But it's just an unpleasant. It's like a house next to the rail track. The railway where it's like it just feels like noisy and chaotic and uncomfortable, and you're just constantly looking for that kind of resolution. That relief. And when you were talking about the feeling that you get when you get in your bedclothes, that it's not actually like a victory lap, you're not Rocky at the top of the steps. It's actually just like, oh, good. This like thing that this unwelcome tension has been relieved. It's interesting. Like, oh, fuck. I forgot to turn off my thing. Oh, shit. It's all right. We've been talking forever. I didn't realize. I felt like we were just starting. I have to scram soon, unfortunately. But,
okay.
But right as we're talking about like the most intimate stuff. But what I was going to say is like, I don't know. Does it feel exhausting and painful and overwhelming to like exist inside your skin?
I don't see it as existing inside of my skin the same way. I get what you're saying. You painted that very well. I get what you're saying. When I'm feeling super anxious, that is in there because I'm in there with the anxiety. That's when I feel I get that. But no, I have found a way of making myself feel comfortable and happy a lot. So it's not it's neither a victory lap nor is it, oh, I escaped the thing. It's just like I also had the rituals and still do sometimes, but it's finding rituals that to some may feel illogical, but I found the right combination of rituals to where, you know, you do the things and now I'm okay. I did them. It's not like, so it's just what it is now. And I feel comfortable a lot, but it's exhausting to feel that way. For example, if I want to go out somewhere, I'm going to have, sure, it's not that big of a deal, but I have to take my pants and shirt off. I have to put another pants and shirt on. I have to leave. I have to come back. I have to wash my hands. I have to put my phone in the phone soap. I have to, it's just like, is it worth doing this thing that might be nice for 10 minutes to then have to like add 5 more minutes of bullshit? So it does keep me from doing things I want to do. I'm already showered. I'm already in my indoor clothes. I don't want to I'm not going to go out again tonight. It kept me from being social. It stopped me from doing, booking more shows, which I since now do. And I still get upset, but I do it anyway. And when I come home, I'm like, I'm glad I left.
Yeah.
But it's exhausting. I connect with that. It's just like, and there's so many there's so much to calculate with everything.
Yeah.
Okay, I do this, but then this. And a lot of times that calculation is a second, but it's still, that 1 second is still as draining as if it were 2 minutes to figure out this solution. I have to do that. Also, like if you have to go soon, we don't have the time now to get into it, but like that, the breaking down of like what all these things mean. And you told me about like as a kid, the obsessive stuff, but I'm still curious if you have time to get into, I asked for an example. You gave the thing with the witch, but how that turned into basically what you were saying, what your craft is and your comedy, like you're like who you are. Built into that. Is there an example of?
Yeah. Okay. So, well, first of all, I'm glad that you're able to feel comfortable, and I'm glad that you're able to get out. I think it is an interesting thing that like this creates a kind of permafrost on the world where to get to the fruit, you have to like hack through all the shit that built up in the freezer.
Which logically, I know there's nothing there too, which is another weird thing.
I know. Well, that's the thing. So, but I'm glad you're able to find comfort, and I'm glad that also that it sounds like you're being like brave about putting yourself in uncomfortable situations still in the hopes that they will eventually become semi-comfortable situations.
To call it brave feels very nice.
It is brave.
But I do feel that way.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks.
And also, I think I've led a very, to answer your question about how it's informed my worldview and my work and stuff, the obsessive compulsive, from an external perspective, I've led the most blessed life. I have loving parents who are still together. I grew up without any material deprivation or abuse. I'm a white, straight guy in America in the 20th and 21st century. There's like no one who has had better luck in terms of geography, time. You know, I've won all of those unearned lotteries in terms of ease. However, even though my life is so easy by basically every metric, the interior experience has at times been so full of strange horror because of the obsessive compulsive stuff. And I think the good thing about that is I think I sort of operate now under the assumption that everyone has an inner life that may not bear much of a resemblance to their outer life. And I think I'm really interested in that. And I think sometimes it's really funny, the distance between those things, your public performance of yourself and the interior experience of yourself. I think that's often hilarious. I think sometimes it's incredibly moving and beautiful. But that idea that the kind of the person that you can sense but not see, that when you're with someone, there's their presentation of themselves, but then there's their kind of essence and their private. And I think there's something really interesting about you wanting to say to your mom, "Hey, I pictured you naked." Does that mean there's something wrong?
Well, I pictured my friend's mom naked.
Oh, I thought you pictured your mom naked, but whatever, fine. Like you told you, it doesn't matter. Whatever you pictured.
I didn't picture my mom naked.
It's okay if you did.
I am now.
It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. She told you it's okay.
Okay.
So, that idea, I think that people, I'm being long-winded now, but basically that people feel sort of locked in these barrels and they're kind of clawing at the walls to try to be like, no, I'm in here. Look at me. Like, it's what you were saying. People want to be known. And I think that idea that like, don't believe, I guess it's all just fairly like basic bitch stuff of like, don't judge a book by its cover or whatever. But the idea that people have torments and glories that are happening inside completely out of view, but that might actually be the core drama of their entire life, I think is something that it gave me. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm pardon me for prying. Also, do you have like a couple more minutes?
Yeah, I think so. Do you mind if I send a text message?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Because if not, we could end it.
I have to scram soon, but I'm so enjoying myself. But
if you're interested and willing, I would love for you to come back on here. Because
really, I would love to. I'm having such a nice time. I'm
such a fan of yours too, man.
I feel like this is shitty. I thought it was just an hour. I know sometimes the episodes are longer.
Yeah,
but
I said I normally go 90 minutes to 2 hours, but I'm fine as long as we get 1 hour. So I just wanted an hour. We've done more than an hour.
I'm so sorry.
No. It's okay. That's
okay. Let me just text.
Then let's just end it. My last question that I still wanted was like, what you just said. How does that go into your comedy?
Okay.
So all those things and everybody, you're able to now see people not necessarily for who they are, but not fill in the blanks that is who they are, and you're able to realize that there's masking, there's multiple things happening. You find that interesting, perhaps even inspired by it. But like your quickness, your pulling of references, your observations, you're very good at these things. That's what I'm like. Are they coming from that? Like you've thought so much that now your thinking is,
I believe,
high endurance.
I believe that there's something that when you have like that kind of obsessive compulsive thing, there's a kind of loneliness to it. It's isolating. It's isolating in that you think like, is there something wrong with me? It's also isolating in the way you're describing, where it's like, well, I can't go outside because it requires X, Y, and Z, right? There's a kind of built-in loneliness for OCD, at least in my experience. What that has created in me, I think, is a real urgency about connecting. And I guess for me, stories, jokes, television, films, art, music, these are things that have made me feel kept company. They tunnel under all of my neuroses and anxieties, and they get me. It's a way to connect, like gut to gut, heart to heart with another person.
Yeah.
And I think at its best, art, comedy, etc., is a loneliness killer. And I think it's created a real urgency for me, either in dramatic stuff or comedic stuff or whatever, but to try to reach people, like to rip open the kind of packaging and get to the core, and so that I don't feel so isolated, and so that they don't feel so isolated, because I've been the recipient of that as an audience member. I was just talking about this with somebody the other day, where it's like, I've sat in theaters that are dark with strangers, watching shadows and light flicker across the screen. Often the people on screen are dead. And I felt more kept company by those images and shadows, more known, more reassured, more normalized by those shadows in a room full of strangers than I have at family events sometimes. And so I think for me, I have such faith in stories, comedy, etc., to close that impossible, agonizing gap that exists between people.
Man, it sounds so dark, but I get it.
But I don't think it's dark, because
that's
for me,
that's what I'm saying. That's why I made a point to say sounds dark, as opposed to that's just putting on your clean clothes. Like you're just finding things that are like. I do want to connect to the idea of like that for you. It's less. It's not as storyteller for me. Yes, but it's simpler for me. It's bits, doing bits and stuff. It's not just about the silly. It's you get to be who you really are and somebody else inspired by who you really are, and they get to they overlap, and they're just together so much so, and it's a language that you connect to where there are things that I don't want to talk about, things that would make me feel uncomfortable physically or mentally, but if it's for the bit, then that permafrost has melted, or I don't see it anymore. I'm not stopped by it. And I love them so much. And I've said on this podcast before, but like people have said to me, I don't know if you're joking or serious. And I always feel like those aren't mutually exclusive. Like jokes and sincerity not only can, but often should exist together, at least in the language I speak, because then it lets me not have to worry about what clothes I'm wearing. and we could just do our bits. And also, like you said, see what people laugh at, see what their references are, see where they like to play, see where you could see, oh, this triggered them, see them. I could see people through bits so much easier. And I also feel so much more comfortable. And I never associated that with OCD before. And it's just a hypothesis for me still now that you bring it up, but that is very interesting. Oh, why do I love it so much? Is it because it's just great and bits are the best? At least, sure. But is there that added layer of like, it's as exhausting as I might be to all the people I'm annoying, I am now like, at least I'm not exhausted anymore, you know? And reining that in is where the craft and getting older and more self-aware comes from. And like, I don't want to, like you said, ruin somebody else's take or ruin their day or their meal.
Oh, it's so interesting. I mean, this is we should talk more because I think it's so. There's some quote I think about this all the time these days, where someone said the loudest conversation in the room is the one you're not having, and I think what you're describing is being able to have that conversation and to allow your shadows to kind of play with each other. I just saw this beautiful movie called Perfect Days, and at this one point these characters play shadow tag where they're trying to jump. These grown men are trying to jump on each other's shadow, and I think like
literally or the shadow
literally shadows like on the ground. But I think I always think about Peter Pan and how like Peter Pan's a permanent boy, and at the beginning of it he's chasing his shadow. He's trying to sew his shadow to himself, but he can't. So he's like permanently a boy. And I do think part of growing up, like what you're describing, is learning how to integrate your shadow with yourself and find some way that they can harmonize, you know, and it sounds like bits for you are a way to begin to do that. And then you're refining it because of course we do that our whole lives.
Yeah. And then you have to also have that, if you're having that conversation with somebody else, that they're on that same frequency, not necessarily for better or worse. I think for better, but not necessarily, but yeah. And then it's like, and some people aren't comfortable showing you who they really are. So they don't believe that you're showing them who you really are. And I didn't say that without judgment. I mean, literally just like the tools of like, oh, is he just joking? Like, yes, but everything I'm saying is real. I'm just doing it with silly faces and props, you know, like fucking play with me, you know? Anyway, you got to go. And
really
I'm loving this conversation and I have so many thoughts on this.
More? I'm sorry to be so abrupt. I didn't realize I've been
thank you for staying as long as you have.
Thank you.
I got to get a Polaroid of you real quick. Is there anything you want to plug? You have Instagram
it's
now.
Okay.
We'll put up all of this stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. I'm going to have you sign that and then leave.
Okay.
Oh, and last, certainly not least, theme music.
Scoot doo. Blabbity blue.
Dude, fucking cool. I'm very interested in.
So much more to talk about. The obsessive compulsive. I've never met another. Truly, the people that say they're OCD, but I've never met like another person in comedy who has OCD.